Hi everyone, I'm Lowanna Grant and welcome to our third instalment of Media in Yarning, where I continue presenting yarns with some of the biggest names in the media industry as they discuss current trends, their personal journeys and advice for future generations of media practitioners. But before we begin, I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the lands on which we are all gathering today and pay my respects to all elders past, present and emerging from my people, the Wiradjuri and Arrernte people. Well, this week we are joined by Mitch Stanley. Mitch began his career in the finance industry, utilising his 8 years of experience in the sector. He went on to manage the acquisitions department for NITV between 2008 and 2010, where he wrote, produced and directed his first short film. Pursuing a career as a producer, Mitch went on to line produce Move It Mobstar, which was broadcast on NITV and ABC3. He later completed a 6-month producer attachment with Screen New South Wales, and then went on to produce Colour Theory with Richard Bell, an 8-part documentary series. And following the success of the first series, Series 2, 3 and 4 have been broadcast on NITV and SBS. Mitch also wrote and produced the critically acclaimed documentary Servant or Slave. Now working in both documentary, drama and comedy, Mitch underwent a mentorship program where he gained access to some of Australia's most celebrated producers and most recently produced Warwick Thornton's documentary series The Beach, Jack Steele's short film Between Two Lines, is in development on an 8-part comedy series The Force, and pre-production of his first feature film Cook. Well, first of all, Mitch, thank you for your time today. How are you personally dealing with the COVID-19 era?
It's a welcome relief. Obviously, not for the world. What's happening is a disaster. But it's been quite a busy couple of years. So it's given us, well, myself, an opportunity to have, I guess, a break. Still working on the development side, but not jumping from one production to the next. It's a lot of sleep to catch up on. So
yeah,
I mean, it's been quite a few months now, so I'm getting quite bored. Getting quite itchy. But
want to get back into it.
Yeah, I watch TV and I'm just like, I want to be on set. I really want to. So yeah, I mean, but we're dealing with it. We're all in it together. So it's just trying to take a positive approach and see the light at the end of the tunnel, really.
And what implications are you finding that COVID-19 has had on your business?
Just as it hit, we employed another producer in Melbourne. So having a staff of 3, which is still small, but for an independent company that's not in production, 3 overheads and 3 wages and salaries it's been a detrimental or negative impact. Just to sustain a business, as you would know, well, in a production company is we need productions to go through. We can't sit in development, and that's currently the stage that we're at. So hasn't had the best impact on us from a fiscal or financial point of view.
Right.
But it's given us an opportunity. The upside of it, it's given us an opportunity to spend a lot more time on our developments, and it would be quite interesting to see what happens worldwide in film, television and cinema regarding projects, and more time spent on story and development, the better the project will be. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what we're looking at the end of next year as to what was developed through the COVID space. So I guess that's
yeah. So Mitch, tell us how you got into the film and television industry.
It was quite a few years ago now, but I started with, I started as an actor. I trained as an actor, and I found out very quickly in my late teens, early 20s that wasn't for me in Los Angeles. And I think it was the second trip I'd done to LA, I'd got back and there was a job advertised with NITV. And I was successful in gaining employment in the acquisitions department, and then later went on to manage that for a couple of years. So that's kind of where I started, was in broadcasting and getting the introductions from, the networks there. At that point in time, NITV, we were alone, and then had moved on to Foxtel. And just before I left Foxtel into SBS is when I had gone solo. But yeah, it was working in broadcasting, which then later on led to producing.
So Colour Theory, what inspired you to make this series?
I was approached by Hetty Perkins, who's, I guess, one of the producing partners and writers on the series. And she also
Mm-hmm.
quite a successful show in her own right on ABC. It was a competitor, so I don't know the name of it. Nah, joking. It was Art and Soul. But she was a great curator in the arts world, and after speaking with her, I just fell in love with the team and the reason why she wanted the project to go ahead. So I came on as a gun for hire to produce that, and then later on down the track, you kind of negotiated the rights to do subsequent series. So we worked quite closely with NITV and SBS. And I think it was actually acquired by Foxtel as well. So yeah, that was a
Mm-hmm.
great few years of working on color theory. And I guess the very last one was quite an important one for us, which focused on I guess street art. I haven't seen many documentary series on street art, and working with young black fellas around the country, it was quite a different approach to being in their gallery, which isn't, in the confinement of four walls like New South Wales Art Gallery or Victoria or South Australia. It was being on the streets with them and seeing what, had happened to them. And yeah, it was an exciting time. I love color theory. Wish I could do another one, but ball's enough.
You never know. And what advice would you give to young blackfella producers wanting to get their content greenlit?
I guess never give up. You may have a project that you'd pitch to one commissioning editor who will say, that project or that idea does not have an audience, and it might be just the limitations of that commissioning editor or what their flavour is or what they're looking for. But you go to another broadcaster or another network or another production company, and it might be that's the flavour of the month. So if you do have a keen interest or desire or passion to work in film and TV, whether it be as a director, a writer, an actor, a producer, don't give up on your passion. You're going to get more knockbacks than green lights.
Yeah.
And you learn that over time. And the first couple of knockbacks, I guess it's heartbreaking, but it's a part of what happens. And now it's like water is off a duck's back. But I do remember when I first entered the industry, I was quite upset by getting a no and a decline. And I don't know how many no's and declines and not going throughs I got before my first project was greenlit, and it took years. Nothing ever happens overnight.
Yeah. So you have to develop quite a thick skin in the industry.
Oh, you do. You do. It's not to say that we're all harsh and brash. It's that you've got to be in it for the long game. There are very few, well, I don't know anyone that has an overnight success. Those who are successful now, they've been doing it, even if it might have been quietly and not in the spotlight, they've been doing it for quite a long time. So stick to it, hang in there. You will get there. If you persevere, you will get there.
So let's talk Indigenous productions and subject content. What makes these perspectives unique, do you think, in the Australian media landscape?
I guess a lot of what we're seeing in film, television, and also even theatre, any production, I guess, has been through the lens of a westernized perspective and point of view. What was once considered niche, I think is now considered popular, because even though I'm not going to say our stories are unique, we share many stories worldwide, but our point of view is unique. Everyone and everyone's culture is unique into themselves. But a lot of the films and theatre and television that's being seen around the world, as I was saying, it hasn't been shown but from our point of view. So in that regard, it is unique. And it's quite an exciting time for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander practitioners at the moment. And I think one thing to never forget is a lot of us, and I can't speak on behalf of everyone, but for me, it's not that it's because it's unique or what, it's the flavour of the year or flavour of the month at the moment, Indigenous Stories. I don't do it for that reason, and I don't tell our stories for that reason. I do it by choice. I do it because I want to work with my family. I want to work with my people. And there's nothing more satisfying than seeing your mob and your community and your stories make it there on the small screen at home or on the big screen out in the cinemas. For me, that's what inspires me to work every day, get up and go to work every day.
Yeah, 100%. So you've worked as a producer on the beach with Warwick Thornton, very exciting. Tell us about this experience.
That was mind blowing. I mean, color theory, servant or slave, move it mob style. I got to see almost every corner of the country working on those productions. And I never got to go to WA. So traveling over there with Warwick and the team was a fascinating experience. But, you know, I've known Warwick for years and we've worked together before on the beach and watching, not to give too much away, but watching how the production unfolded, because it's a production that's based on him and his life story.
Yeah.
And I guess him going back to country and escaping the city, doing that for a long, extended period of time in such a volatile environment, beautiful, but everything up there wants to kill you. It literally does. It was eye-opening, and seeing how that man changed over the course of the production was incredible, and sometimes upsetting, but in a beautiful way, to see a friend go through something like that. But yeah, it's an amazing experience. I guess you may have seen it already being at SBS, but yeah, working with Tanith Glyn Maloney and Dylan River from since 1788 Productions, collaborating with them, it was one of the, I guess, most fascinating experiences I've had in my career. But working with Tanith and Dylan in that company, we've worked on many projects together. Sometimes Tanith, Glyn Maloney, who's done She Who Must Be Loved, and I've forgotten her other series, Robbie Hood. You know, she'll come on and manage some of my projects that she's producing, that I'm producing, and vice versa. I manage some of hers, and so it's great working with other Indigenous practitioners and production companies, and that was the perfect opportunity, which was the beach. So yeah.
Yeah, and that'll be coming on NITV very soon, so make sure you all check it out. It's really an amazing series. And is it empowering to work with other Indigenous creatives to bring Indigenous stories to life? I know you kind of spoke about that just a bit before, but if you can elaborate a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it is. There's not, as I said, there's nothing more satisfying than seeing your community, your family, your friends on screen. It's getting our point of view. We come from a people who are often ignored, most definitely in Australia in the political landscape. So when we're sitting back and we're in the audience, you know, at the ACTA Awards or the Logies, and majority of the nominees have one or if not two Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander nominations, and then you see a lot of us winning the awards. There is nothing more satisfying to say, thinking that we are being heard, our stories are being told, and why are they resonating with and winning all the awards? Why you question why? It's because we have fascinating stories, we have a voice, and it's quite powerful. And if you listen to it, you're going to like it too. So listen up, you know what I mean? So yeah. And working with our mob and our community, we have, I mean, I've worked on Indigenous sets and non-Indigenous sets, and I feel, you know, every experience is different. I think the way a lot of blackfellow producers approach productions is almost having a family and safe environment. Our crew and our cast, we feel like a family unit. It's quite sad saying goodbye when you're wrapping up set and, you know.
Yeah, definitely. And how does one collaborate with your production company, No Coincidence Media, and are you open to collaborations?
Yeah, most definitely. Not everything we do is born in-house. We work with a lot of writers and directors who bring their own projects to us. I guess we've got the website, nocmedia.com.au. You'd probably need to touch base with us there. Obviously, the kind of work that we're looking for is, I guess, films or stories that are told from a different person's point of view. Not everyone we work with is Indigenous, but you know, we're not looking for the next Home and Away. We're looking for some colour on colour TV, and that perspective, I guess. So open to collaboration, always.
Well, that's very exciting for any, one that wants to collaborate, and we'll put the details in the link as well so people can reach out to you. And Mitch, what does the future hold for you?
God only knows, really. I guess as soon as COVID lifts, we're into production on our feature film, which is a co-pro with 4 Indigenous directors from Australia, uh, 2 Māori directors in New Zealand, and 2 Samoan directors as well.
Mm,
So it's an anthology piece, which as soon as the borders opens, we'll have cameras rolling. And then
amazing.
after that, a doco series in Central Australia with your community, so the Arunta mob. So
Awesome.
that's what's coming up next, but who knows after that?
Sounds very exciting. Well, Mitch, thank you so much for chatting to us today. I really appreciate your time. And everyone, stay tuned next week for more Media Ring Yarning. But for now, I'm Lowanna Grant. Take care and see you next week.